Baruch Fleischman, Tikkun Elevator Kolel, Sefer Zohar Kodesh, Benukad, Matok Bedevash, Sweeter Than Honey. We're going to learn a shtickle from Parshas Miketz. So let's come over here and see the words of Rebbe Shimon Bar Yochai. I'm a Rebbe Shimon. We're on page Kaf Peches if you have the book. Kol ma the Avad Kudsha Berichu Kula Ihu the Galgul the Gulim begin to boy the Kaima Kiyuma. He says that all that a Kodesh Baruch Hu, he does the whole thing is to make the wheels of the world turn, begin to boy the Kaima Kiyuma, because he wants to sustain the Jewish people. Tolchazi, come and see, he says like this. Kad bara Kudsha Berichu Alma, I see Kol Mad the Ithdrik Alma Bekad Misa, he brought everything that the world would need, and you see how the world grows. And he brought everything that the world would need. Well, the Basar I see lay the Barnash the Alma, and then after that, he brought human beings into the world. Ba'ashkach Bezaina, and they were able to find food and sustain themselves. Kagav the Dal, Kudsha Berichu Amala Abraham, so like this, Kodesh Baruch Hu said to Abraham, Yodu Atedeki Ger Yehia Zaracha Be'eretz Lo Lahem. He said, it is certainly known that your people will be strangers in a land that does not belong to them. But after that they will come out with tremendous wealth. Kad also Yosef La'ara, so let's look at Yosef, who we're talking about Parshas Miketz. When Yosef came to the land of Egypt, the Mitzrayim, there wasn't a wealthy place at all. Gilgulim v'Isaac Hafnal Alma, but the Kodesh Baruch Hu changed the nature of the world. That is, and he doesn't say change the nature, he revolved the nature into a different sphere. Gilgulim v'Isaac Hafnal Alma, he changed this pattern of the world, and he brought a famine into the world. But Mitzrayim was by the river, and they still had food. So all the whole world brought gold and silver into Mitzrayim. Vismale call Ara the Mitzrayim Kaspa b'dachava. The whole world was filled with silver and gold. The Basa is talking Kula b'chush gadol. Then after everything of Mitzrayim, the whole Mitzrayim was full of money. I say Yaakov the Mitzrayim, and then Yaakov came to Mitzrayim. The Hachi Arche the Kudsha Berichu. So this is the way of the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Because Mise Bare as Asasa, first he creates the cure. Well, the Basar Mochin. Then after that there could be trouble. Kach Bekad Misa Askin Rakosh Gadol. So this is how the pattern went to Mitzrayim. The first thing he did was bring wealth into Mitzrayim. Well, the Basar Ise Lon the Galus, and then he brought the Jewish people, he brought us into Galus. Valdal Gilgulim v'Isaac Hafna I'll call Alma. And to make that happen, to bring us into Mitzrayim, he had to change the nature of the world into a time of famine. Begin the Leheven, Mice, and Kasban, so that the world will then start bringing silver and gold. Call Alma the Mitzrayim, Kasba the Hava, call Alma the Mitzrayim. That says like this, Tochazi, come and see. Begin Kach Yosef the equal Tzadik. Now Yosef is a Tzadik. What's the concept of the Tzadik? The Tzadik is the person of the pure bris that allows the flow of bracha to come through from the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, through Olam Yitzilus, into the Yesod of Olam Yitzilus, which transfers that into Malchus, which brings it into our world. Ihu Garam Usrach Kasbar B'Zarav Donata the Yisrael. He bring in wealth, silver and gold. They'd be taken for the Jews. And ultimately, as a result of this purity, and he's tying these two together, and we'll get a little blurb on this afterwards. And amongst the tribes, there was no poor. There was no one poor. I mean, Yoda the Tzadik also daw the Yisrael. How did this happen? It came from the hand of the Tzadik to the Jews. The Kula, the Mizke, Long, the Alma, the Asi. The whole thing is for the purpose of bringing us in to the world beyond. Now, what's shot over here? And we have a little blurb that the Matik brings. It's kind of small print, so let me bring this down so you can see it better. So it says like this. Let me move this off. Hine sod ha'inyan shel kibbutz kol kesef v'zachar leBitzrayim hoyu. What's the secret of this idea? He says the feet shegalus Yisrael the Mitzrayim. Hos kedei l'chotzias misham kol ha'nitzutzim de kedusha is in order to bring out all of the sparks of kedusha. Shechay mefuzarim b'kol ha'umos that spread out through all of the different Gentile nations. The neshamas b'kol hadoros and the neshamas that were scattered in all the different generations. V'nashgohu b'kol yom v'sar tachas mamshalas asarim, and everybody was sunken down and beaten down under each prince or each ruler, tachas mamshalas asarim, then under the ruler of the government. V'hoyat tzrichel his galgal, so they had to change. So everything had to change so that all of this went into Mitzrayim. So therefore Hashem did this. He made it so that there should be famine in the world. And the Indian is that all of the princes, all these kings, of all the nations, I can't quite get this word out. So that everybody wound up under the hand of the yoke, I guess he said, of the king of Egypt, and they were indentured to it. And as a result of that, I guess they mean that they owed him. So they brought silver, physical silver and gold. Because they had within them sparks of kedusha and holy souls. And as a result of that, as they're bringing in the silver and gold, they're also bringing aspects of kedusha with them. Which were trapped beyond Sarel Umos with the kings of the world. The Mitzrayim and the Asa and there they gathered together this tremendous wealth. So the whole idea, he says, of gathering in of Nitzutzas as well, which are coming along with the Umas own. And after that, we were exiled over there. With the root of the Shechina went with us. And bring the neshamas, that is, when he says the ikr, he means the godliness that is within the neshamas of the Jewish people should be added onto them, osam and nitzutzim, these sparks. Violida rabashishim revol neshamos, and they would bring 600,000 neshamos to Horos, the Kios, Sigim, he's with Basul, without Basula, the Gilgal, the secret of the Gilgal. Okay, that's it. That's Baruch Fleischman at the Tikkun Elevator Call-Out.